last night here at Tex Turner Arena. You end up snapping that weird kind of strange 2-game losing streak with a 95-72 victory over Anderson. We talked last night. Tremendous first half. A little bit lackluster in the second half. When you went back and watched the film, is that still how you feel about last night's game?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It was first half was probably again, like I think I said it last night, the best possible version of ourselves. I thought we played with great pace. I thought we played with spacing. I thought we had great energy on both sides of the ball. Thought we guarded the ball well. Thought we shrunk and made things difficult for them. I thought we were really committed to to getting the ball and breaking the paint and playing behind that, and we generated a lot of good shots. Obviously shot the ball well, which helps. We were 8 for 12 from 3 in the first half, but I really believe that that's kind of a byproduct of just really guys losing themselves in the game and playing well and working together collectively to get good shots. I think we had maybe 5 or 6 cuts, off penetration where we drove it and guys cut behind that and we hit each other for layups. We were patient late in the clock a few times when it did get deep in the shot clock and didn't bail out with a settled shot. So, and then again on the defensive end, I thought we were really, really good in the first half. And then second half, it just looked like, we I don't know if it was a scoreboard, being up 31 at half or just what it was, but we came out and I thought, we had very little energy on either end. I mean, we were just lazy offensively. Nobody was moving. Ball was sticking. We're not a team that's very good trying to play one-on-one. We don't have a lot of guys that are just great, one-on-one guys who you can play in isolation and they're just going to get their shoulders by and touch paint and all that stuff. So it's got to be, guys driving into a loaded side of the floor, guys not moving the defense, and we're at our best when the ball's moving, hopping around, then we're playing off closeouts. Then we do have guys that can get downhill and break paint. We got a lot of guys that can handle. We got a lot of guys that can shoot and play make and all that. But second half, we didn't do any of that. And then I thought defensively, just a number of breakdowns. Again, energy wasn't very good. I thought our defense really weakened. We were soft on the ball, gave up a lot of drives, had some situations where our help was late, a couple scouting report breakdowns, gave Randall Shaw, multiple wide open threes, which he buried a few, played behind Boughton in the post, threw it inside, he scored in there. Defensive transition lapses, all that, and it just goes back to the mentality. And we're a really good team when we play with urgency and purpose. And right now we just don't do that enough to be a really good team. But there's no question when we do those things, and we've shown it this year, when we're urgent, when we're locked in, when we're really getting after it, it's a really good basketball team. But to be an elite team, you got to be able to do it on a consistent basis.
And you talked about last night how this team has been prone to let the score dictate exactly kind of its poise. And when it's a close game, the poise kind of goes away. When it's a blowout, it seems at times, so they can kind of let lose focus a little bit. So how is kind of you as a staff kind of working to change that narrative?
Well, you just continue to show them on film what it looks like. You continue to show them examples of teams that don't do that. You continue to try to hammer those points home, but ultimately the guys have to buy into it. I think a lot of our issues are not basketball related. They're just mentality issues, whether it's guys not being experienced or maybe not mentally tough or whatever the case may be. But when all that stuff is affected by external factors, you're not very good. To me, if you want to be at your best, you got to play exceptionally hard. You got to make the next right basketball play, and then you got to focus in on doing your job every possession over and over and over again. And as unglamorous as that sounds, I mean, that's the path to doing it. You got to play with great effort. You got to try to make the next right basketball play, whatever's going on, and then what is your job? Because everybody's got a job every possession on both ends of the floor. Everybody's got responsibilities relative to whatever they're doing offensively and defensively. And that's how you become a good player, and that's how you become a good team. And I think when you allow other stuff to infiltrate your thinking, whether it's, hey, we're up, big, let's try this, let's get away from what we do well, let's try to do stuff that's maybe outside of our capabilities, or you allow a bad play to affect the next couple plays because you missed a box out or you turned it over or you made a mistake, and then you jog back in transition D and you don't get below the ball, and then they get a wide open shot and they make it, and it starts to snowball and compound. And We have too much of that with this group, so it's that's you just continue to kind of hammer those points home. You continue to let them know that that's not acceptable, and that if we don't change that, then we're never going to make that jump that we got to make to try to accomplish what we hope to accomplish. And ultimately, the goal is, every year is the same, is to max out, right? To be the very best team you can be, certainly when it matters most at the end. And unless those things change, we do, and we make progress and grow and start to just become the best version of ourselves, regardless of those external factors, we're never going to reach our potential as a team.
7 regular season games left, 6 Southland Conference games coming down the home stretch here. Like you've talked about, despite kind of the ups and downs of the season, you still control your own destiny pretty much completely in terms of you can still accomplish everything that you want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So kind of what is the focus as we head down this home stretch now?
Well, the way the league is this year, I think, the whole focus is just preparing as well as you can. I think 3 things. I think you focus in, you hone in on preparation, improvement, and trying to play your best the game in front of you. I think anything outside of that is a distraction, is noise, is not where your head needs to be. If you can really lock in and fixate on those 3 things, come in every day focused on improvement, focused on preparing to the absolute best you can, and then hit your head on that ceiling, whatever your line is, each and every game in front of you, because in this conference, if you don't, you lose. I mean, we've seen it, right? Lenoir-Rhyne loses to Newberry. We lost to Carson Newman. And, Newberry almost beat Queens, as a 1-point game. I mean, everybody in this league can beat everybody. And, Anderson's beaten Lenoir-Rhyne and Catawba. And, I mean, you just go down the list of teams, and it's a slog. Queens is 13-1, and they've played very well, but they've also won a number of close games. We're in second at 10-4, but there's a logjam there with, really 3 other teams. Really 2 through 5 is razor thin, and then you get past that, and there's a cluster at 6, through 8, 9, or whatever, 10. So there's a lot of good basketball teams. If you take your eyes off anything outside of those 3 things, you're going to get beat. So the goal is to take care of each game in front of us, starting on Saturday. But to do that, we got to come in today. We got to get better. We got to focus on our preparation and try to really get ready for an outstanding Wingate team, and then go out hopefully Saturday and play our absolute best game of the year, because I think that's what it's going to take to have success on Saturday.
Talk a little bit more at length about this Wingate team, wrapping up the season series here. It was just a 9-point game here. It played you pretty tough here. Mm-hmm. I know they made that little charge late, but they did play you pretty tough here. So just talk about Wingate.
No, Brian's got a good team. I mean, I think when you look at it, they're Marco Haskins, if it wasn't for Sean Willett, would be the player of the year in the league. He's had an unbelievable senior year. I think he had 23 and 14 last night. He's made 70 some odd threes, shooting 47% from the 3-point line. He's rebounding the ball at a high level. He's an elite guard. And then they surround him with good players. Frankie Johnson's as dynamic a point guarders in the league, leader in steals, right there in assists. He's as good a point guard as we have in the league. Quantra Taylor is playing better, for them on the interior. And then Amarius Logan gives them another, a secondary ball handler that can come in. He's really kind of a combo, and he and Frankie make it difficult because they're such great playmakers. They get downhill, break paint, and can move the ball. And then they have good depth, with Dawkins and they come off the bench, Hovas, etc. So it's a good basketball team. And like every team that Brian has, they defend. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. So even on nights when they're not making shots, they hang around because they guard well, they rebound well. They're one of the best teams in the league. When you look at them, I think they're 9-5. So we're a game up on them in the conference, and they've beaten some of the better teams in the league. It's very well coached, good players. Should be a good environment. We're going to have to really be right, really be on to have a chance to have success on Saturday.
Well, and then 4 of your last 6 in Southland Conference play will be on the road. So how does that kind of change the way that – I know it doesn't change the preparation, but how does that kind of shift things?
Well, hopefully it doesn't. I mean, that goes back to the, the stuff we talked about earlier about not being affected by things that don't really matter. I mean, home ball, road ball, whatever venue you're at, you got to go out and play well. And I've always been much more concerned with, how we're playing than who or where we're playing. And how we're playing is the biggest concern. And when you go on the road, certainly, there's challenges that don't exist at home, but at the end of the day, the good teams navigate those. They're mentally tough enough to overcome and play well away from home. And there's no question. I mean, you can't be a good team if you can't, win away. The way our schedules work, we get 10 home games and 10 road games in the conference. And if you can only play in one venue, you're not going to be very successful. So it's on us to play better on the road. I think we got to show more toughness. We got to have better leadership in terms of how we respond, and we got to stay connected. When things don't go our way. Again, that goes back to having the right mentality, locking into the game, and just compete, make the next right play, and try to do your job on a possession by possession basis. Because home or road, if you do that, the game really honors that, I believe, and that's where success lays. So that's going to be our challenge. And Wingett's a very difficult place to play. They're a really good team playing on their home floor. So again, I think it's going to take our best game of the season at this point to have a chance to have success down there, and we'll see if we can do it. Obviously, it starts with these next few days of preparation, really being right in terms of what we do Thursday, Friday, and then hopefully that'll translate into a better, more consistent performance on Saturday.